Today we're going to look at the anointing of Jesus at Bethany. From verse 6, while Jesus was in Bethany at the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. Now, Matthew is very deliberate in withholding from us the name of the person who gave this gift. Probably because they don't want the glory. They want Jesus to be the center of the story. That's the point of the passage. However, God in his goodness has given us 4 Gospels, and John spills the beans. This is Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus. So Mary has given a gift, we are told, of more than a year's wages. Wow. This pouring out of perfume, I'm sure you know, is a one-time deal. These alabaster jars didn't come with a screw cap. They would have a long, thin neck. Then you would snap the neck and pour the perfume, and you can't reseal it halfway. You can't scoop the perfume back in off the floor. You can imagine a year's wages disappearing faster than this. If you took a year's wages out of the bank and set fire to them, they would take longer to disappear than this here. Snap, pour, gone. Now, whatever you think about the wisdom of this action, the best use of this resource, undeniably, this is an act of extreme generosity towards Jesus. And so the question we've got to know the answer to is, what does Jesus make of this? How does he respond to this? Before Jesus has a chance to respond, however, the disciples all begin to pipe up and weigh in with their opinions and their declarations about this moment. They would have done well to hold their tongues and wait, don't you think? As the old proverb goes, it's better to remain silent and to be thought of a fool than to speak up and remove all doubt. Look at verse 8. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. Why this waste? They asked. This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor. They weren't upset or surprised or shocked. They were indignant. There's a sense of anger in their response here. What on earth does she think she's doing? Jesus, it seems, sees the action differently. Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. In other words, look, she was motivated by love and generosity, and the greatest good you could ever do with any gift you've been given is to give generously towards the things of God. Finally, Jesus says, look, there's prophetic power in what she's just done too. Whether she knows it or not, this is symbolic of her preparing his body to be buried in the ground. Now, you've walked past people on the street, I'm sure, and a few seconds after you've passed them, you walk into like a cloud of their perfume or cologne. It just wafts into your face. And in that moment, you might imagine that they've upended the whole bottle on their head in order to smell like that for the rest of the day. But probably it was just a few extra dabs or squirts of their fragrance. But it's so poignant that it's following them around all day long. Well, imagine for a moment actually doing this, what Mary does here. Taking a bottle of intense perfume, snapping off the neck and upending the whole thing. Imagine the way that it would soak into your hair and down your back and into your clothes. If you actually did that with a bottle of perfume, the smell wouldn't leave you for days upon days. You would reek of it. What does Jesus mean when he says, Mary poured out this perfume on me in preparation for my burial? Well, it means that in just a few hours' time, he will be arrested and tried and killed and then buried. Have you ever thought about this? As the scenes of the crucifixion are playing out, this scent still lingers upon him. Strange to think, isn't it? That as they sell the clothes from his back, there is every chance those clothes still carry the rich scent of this perfume from this great act of love. Strange to think that as Jesus is taken down from the cross and his body is prepared for burial by loyal, courageous followers, isn't it strange to think that as they get ready to embalm his body, they will find that it has already been perfumed by another. She did this to prepare my body for burial, Jesus said. This scent, this act of love literally lingered with him when everything and everyone else was gone. This lasted all the way into the ground. It is an amazing act of love, and it ought to move us, I think. As we close, just think of this. See how all that Mary does here is just a small picture of what Christ ultimately came to do himself. Jesus, though he was rich, became poor like that. He left the glory of heaven so that we might enjoy the riches of God, so that he might bestow upon us the blessings of heaven, so that we might be covered from head to toe with his righteousness poured out upon us. Jesus was unreasonably generous towards us, wasn't he? But my goodness, aren't we glad that he was? He broke not a bottle, but his own body. He poured out not a perfume, but his own precious blood. He was scorned not by a room full of people, but by the whole watching world. His gift cost more than any earthly treasure. It cost his whole life. If he gave that gift to us, then what could ever be too much to give back to him?